Hey guys, Doc Heath here, and we are trying this at a different time this evening. Welcome to QiQ, and sorry for the jiggly wiggly around there, but my other camera's not working, so we're going to do the old FaceTime camera there. You have to bear with us. But we have a little bit of an experiment going on. We're trying to see if it works better doing the live QiQ at 9 p.m. Central, or whether you might like it better, it might work better at a little bit earlier, a couple hours earlier. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our proverbial pants here, but we will see how it works. I'm going to get the chat open here and make sure I have sound. If you guys can give me a thumbs up and let me know if sound is coming through, and we'll go ahead and get started here. You know the game, and all you do is I will read the answer, and your job is to read the question. And it's like a certain game show that we all know about. What's that called? Oh yeah, Jeopardy. And we look forward to having you guys on the program this evening. We have these questions and we have these questions submitted, and we come up with answers. But we read the answers, and then you guys see if you can ask the proper questions in the proper format. And we have somebody saying that the sound is good, and I got a glare on my screen here, so thank you guys for that. We are going to start off with our game board, and let's go to that. And looky there, we have, as you'll see, 6 different categories: couch crumbs questions, creature feature, social media smackdown, and fresh from the therapy couch. Couch crumbs is after that. And finally, Neuro, which is psych secrets. And we bank, gather, conglomerate those questions together from many different places, namely our newsletter, our podcast, TherapyBites podcast, which you guys go out there and check it out. We'd love to hear from you, see what you think about the podcast. And also we have a weekly support group on Wednesdays. That'll be tomorrow, by the way. It's on Clubhouse. Just get on Clubhouse, download the app, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the Clubhouse chat. That's an audio support group. And we will get started here with our first answer. For 200 side coins, these are often inaccurately labeled as a feeling or emotion, and they're placed in the feelings or emotion category. For example, I feel like no one likes me, but the brain attaches a feeling to this, resulting in an emotion appearing as evidence. Guys, emotions aren't evidence, but we can attach emotions to this this thing we're talking about here. And in the presence of an emotion or absence of an emotion, we will ignore this neurological process and focus instead only on the emotion. And we will pull up the clock here and give it about 60 seconds. I'll read the question, or actually the answer again. These are often inaccurately labeled as a feeling or an emotion. Feeling, emotion, same thing. Some people differentiate. Here in the art lab, we just like to make things simple, and we equate an emotion with a feeling with an emotion. And they're placed in the feelings or emotion category. For example, you've heard people say, I feel like no one likes me. I feel like no one loves me. I feel like I don't have a future. I feel like I'm stupid. Well, the brain attaches a feeling to this thing we're talking about, and it leads to the emotion appearing as evidence. In the presence of an emotion or absence of an emotion, we will ignore this thing, which is a neurological process, and focus instead only on the emotion. We have about 8 seconds left here, and we have somebody saying, what are behaviors? And that's unfortunately it is in the proper context, the proper structure as a question, but it's what is a thought or belief? What is a thought or belief? Thoughts and beliefs manufacture both emotions and behaviors. Behaviors and emotions both come from the same origination point. They're manufactured by, and somebody said, what is intuition? Yeah, we should have a whole episode on tuition. People get that wrong too. Psychics say we have intuition, but I can put it briefly saying that intuition is knowledge, a thought that's below your level of conscious awareness. You just don't know that you're having that thought. Isn't it spooky how the brain works out? Okay, let's go back to the board. And the game board says, okay, the next question comes from, the new Couch Crumbs newsletter, or Couch Crumbs newsletter. If you want to subscribe to that, just send a text to 1-870-686-4196. And for 400 Psy coins, this is a concept that we featured in the Couch Crumbs newsletter in the myth, M-Y-T-H, myth conceptions and madness column, as one of the our high value targets, one of the T-ball TherapyBites Art Lab high value targets. It's a popular buzzword in social media, usually used when referring to non-preferred behaviors of others within a relationship or situation. It's a term that distracts from what should be the actual focus of our efforts, which is our thought processes and healthy behaviors such as setting boundaries. It's also used when describing nuclear waste. Now, guys, I don't know. If that didn't give it away, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's a concept recently featured in the Couch Crumbs newsletter in the Myth Conceptions and Madness column. It's one of T-Ball's TherapyBites Art Lab's high-value targets. It's a popular buzzword on social media. And I'm looking for answers here. It's usually used a lot in social media. It's kind of, we call it, psychological pseudo-malarkey, say that 5 times really fast, because it's just very sabotaging to believe that this can happen, this can go on. We hear it from lots of, quote, influencers, and I'll explain after I give you the question that was asked, but this is how we describe it. It's usually used when referring to behaviors you don't want others to engage in, or things you don't want them to say, and it's really just to kind of shut people up and shut people down. And we have a question. Oh, I love that one. What is radioactive? That's pretty darn close. The question is, what is toxic or toxicity? Good guess, though. What is toxic? And there's another one right there. I'll pop that up really quick. Oh, did it go on the screen? Nope, I got to drag it. We're Mac people. We got to drag stuff, don't we? What is toxic? What is toxicity? Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is it's a sabotaging way to think about something else and say that something is a danger or threat to you, when what's really going on is you just don't like what they're saying. You just don't like what you're hearing. You just don't like what they're doing. That doesn't make them toxic. By that definition, maybe if you're using the word toxic, you'd have to apply it to yourself. Do you always avoid doing things that others don't prefer? Well, what happens if they define you as toxic, and we begin to go through life defining each other as toxic? All of a sudden, we got to live on a desert island somewhere to get away from toxic people, and then we may not do things that are good for us. Well, does that make us toxic for yourself? No. There's healthy behavior, unhealthy behavior. There's things that are adaptive in relationships to say, and non-adaptive, and things that are rude, not rude, courteous, discourteous. That doesn't make them toxic. Let's stop labeling and start focusing in on what's really going on, and that is, let's talk to each other with courtesy, and let's treat each other with courtesy.
You are a fellow human struggling with difficult emotions, a fracturing relationship, parenting problem, mental health difficulty, have a psychotherapy from hell story to tell, or a challenging life experience question, and would like to share your story by stepping up to bat as a T-baller, either register by texting QiQ to 1-870-686-4196 and join our TherapyBites community, or send a postcard with your name, address, phone number, email address, and age to the address on the screen. TherapyBites QiQ, P.O. Box 1391, Jonesboro, Arkansas 72403-1391.
Okay, yes, of course. We would love to hear from you guys, and we'd love for you to join the community. 1-870-686-4196. 1-870-686-4196. Doesn't cost you a penny. Why not join up? Gosh, how few great things in life are free. And we think we have a great community, a great support group. And let's go back to the board. This comes from, gosh, oh, which one does it come from? Oh, it comes from Couch Crumbs Quotes. There we go. For 800, wow, 800 Psy coins. This philosopher, whoops, let me get back to my timer here. This philosopher stated, live your life as though every act were to become a universal law. Live your life such that every act were to become a universal law. And how would you define that in your life? When you do things, could you wish that what you're doing could become a universal law to everyone, to the whole world? Well, if not, that's a good reason to really check your behavior and engage in a different behavior. If how you're talking to your spouse is not what you would recommend to your children, or your children's spouses, imagine that. Would you have your child's spouse talk to them exactly as you're talking to their other parent? And if not, that's a good reason not to do so. Who is Epictetus? And what a wonderful guy he was, but that is not it. And the question is, dun dun dun, drum roll please, who is, maybe I should say was, because he's no longer among the living. Who was or who is Immanuel Kant? Who is Immanuel Kant? Can't touch this. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, we got a whole t-shirt that goes with that. Can't touch this. Get it? Yeah. Old MC Hammer song. All right. And let's go to the next question here. Back to the board. And this question comes from Social Media Smackdown. And that is the T-ball triple of the day. And instead of being 400 Psy coins, this is going to be... Oh, and somebody just popped up there. Who was Socrates? Yeah, who was Socrates? Yeah, we use him a lot, don't we? The whole area of therapy we're in uses what's called Socratic questioning. But the answer to the question for that last one was, who is Immanuel Kant? By the way, sometimes these pop back up, don't they? These may sound familiar to some of you guys watching the replays here. For 400 Psy coins, the next question, the next answer really, from Social Media Smackdown. This pseudo-psychological concept, seen frequently in social media, is often used in relationships when one partner believes the other partner has control over their actions. It is also one of the most sabotaging cognitive distortions and an example of programming yourself to believe that you have no power, that you have no internal locus of control. And what might the question have been? And we have folks submit these questions to us through that text number 1-870-686-4196. You can join the community, and you know, if you like it, we hope you like it. We think you'll like it. We work on you liking it. We hope you find value in it. If you don't, you can join and unjoin. It's okay. We want you to have, to exercise your free will. I started to say we want you to have free will. You have free will anyway. We don't give that to you. No one can take away your free will. Here's a response. What is disempowerment? Man, that is really, really close. But this is actually disempowering. That's pretty much on target, but it's not quite hitting the bullseye. And somebody said, what is disrespect? Wow. We have some stuff out there about disrespect. Disrespect is not what you think it is. Actually, disrespect is pretty much mind reading, which is a cognitive distortion. How would you know somebody disrespects you? They'd have to tell you. If you're thinking someone's disrespecting you, how would you know? Did they say that? Hey, I disrespect you. No, usually not. They're just saying something you don't like. Kind of back to the toxic thing, which we don't believe that exists. That's a a ridiculously sabotaging thing to believe. And so is, someone's disrespecting you. Maybe they're just speaking their perspective. Maybe they weren't raised to be very courteous. Does that say more about you or them? I think it says more about them. The question, what is manipulation? Oh my goodness, somebody missed out on the 1,400 Psycoins, which you can spend in the company store, the TherapyBites store. And let's go back to the board here. And this question comes from Creature Feature. And yeah, I know the little sparklies at the bottom don't really keep up with what I'm saying, but that's just a graphics we created there. Actually, yours truly created that. Look, I'm a jack of all trades, maybe not a master of any of those except the psychology thing, but I do love creating graphics. But this comes from Creature Feature. It's for 200 Psycoins. 200 Psycoins. And the answer is Sandy just knows George thinks she is a horrible wife. He commented on the dishes piling up at the sink and said something discourteous. Okay. What would the question be? And we often do that. We often, think that we know what someone else is thinking. And gosh, if you're really good at that, call me up. You can text the TherapyBites number there, 1-870-686-4196, 1-870-686-4196, and we'll go to the casino, win lots of money. But I guess, actually I don't guess, I know what's going to happen is no one can read minds. No one knows the future. No one knows any of those things, and it's just a very sabotaging thing to say. And someone said, what is low self-esteem? We have a few more seconds left on our timer here, but the main thing we're trying to get at here is helping people think about their thinking. Think about it. Think about thinking about your thinking. Wow, that's triple thinking. That's T3 thinking. That's thinking cubed. Well, most folks don't do that, but we're trying to help you here in the Art Lab do that very thing. And someone just popped up in the chat, what are assumptions? And that's not it just yet. So we're going to go on and reveal the big reveal. Don't you like the big reveal? And the question is, what is mind reading? And in particular, what is the mind reading at? The hint for that was it was under Creature Feature in our newsletter, and Creature Feature in our podcast, TherapyBites Art Lab podcast. We talk about our creatures, and we have lots of them. We have the catastrophizing ant, we have the mind reading gnat, the fortune reading gnat, the emotional reading gnat, the underthinking gnat. We have all these creatures, and what are they? Well, they're types of implicit processing, but they're also cognitive distortions. Let's go back to the board.
If you plan on being in the local area of your podcast player app and would like complimentary tickets to the TherapyBites QiQ Art Lab studio audience, please search TherapyBites on your device and just smash that subscribe button. Your complimentary ticket grants you access to alerts so you'll never miss a show.
Okay, guys, we are back at the game board here, and this is from, Creature Feature again. We've got two from Creature Feature this evening, and the answer is for 600 Psycoins. The answer, Angie is anxious, and her anxiety means that she should avoid driving in traffic. Yeah, that's the key. Every time you have anxiety, it's time to stop or avoid something. Compass, emotion, gosh, just take the emotion every time. Doesn't your emotions tell you which way is north? Or do they do better job telling you which way is south? Do emotions do that at all? Well, Angel's anxious, and that means she should avoid driving in traffic. She decides to stay home, and this is from the Creature Feature section. And let's see what you guys come up with here in the chat. What are assumptions? That is, yeah, well, that's I guess a higher category. I guess that's the genus, or maybe the genus is cognitive distortion. and the assumption is the filer or something when it goes psychologically. But Angie's anxious, and she interprets that anxiety to mean that she should stop doing something. To a lot of people, anxiety is a big stop sign. It means stop. Is that true? Is that what anxiety? Well, here's something to remember before we run out of time here, and you can go ahead and put. Oh, here's something else. What is avoidance? The tail system. What are panic attacks? Wow, is that what happens? Panic attacks you? How can panic attack you? I wondered that for years. What is it attacking us with? Is it attacking us with panic? No, that's why in the art lab we don't call it panic. Well, we do call it panic. Episodes of panic, EOPs, not attacks. There's nothing attacking me. If you ever talk to somebody who has been attacked, a knife attack or a gun attack or an AR-15 attack or an ID attack, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say that is nothing like the panic attack that you're talking about. That should tell us a little bit about we need to rename some of these things, because when you call something an attack, well, your noodle up here is going to respond in that way because that's what you've labeled it. Why can't it just be panic or an episode of panic? Yeah, let's change our language. Let's be faithful to our own cognitive science and not use catastrophizing terms such as attack to define things, but because it's not. Someone who's been attacked by a knife would say that's nothing like what you're talking about when your heart just started beating faster and all that. And I bet they wouldn't choose the knife attack again instead of your panic attack. I bet they wouldn't choose the knife. I don't know. What do you think? Send me a letter. Send me a nasty letter. Send me a letter. We love hearing from you guys. Okay. Angie's anxious. That means she should avoid driving in traffic. She decides to stay home. What is the emotional reasoning that? The emotional reasoning that sees emotions as evidence of things. And emotions just weren't meant to do that. Emotions can never be evidence. And I promised a way to look at that. The tail system. The tail system. Take a look. T, take, A, L, look, and then the E is for echo. And that's what anxiety does. It just echoes. Take a look, take a look, take a look, take a look. It doesn't tell you how bad. It doesn't tell you if it's dangerous. It doesn't tell you if you should go north, south, east, or west. Emotions just are not a compass at all. It's just the tail system. It's the take a look echo system. That's it. Take a look. It's like the little kid in the back seat of the vehicle. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? That's all anxiety does. Take a look. Take a look. And you can safely look at anxiety and say, hey, I've taken a look. It's okay. And you know what anxiety is going to do? Well, it's probably going to keep on saying, take a look, take a look, take a look, take a look. But the more you remind yourself that you have taken a look and there's nothing to be done, the healthier you'll be. Hey, guys, we're going to try it out on Thursday again at 7 o'clock. Tell us what you think. If you like this time, we'll keep doing it at this time. Join in, bring some friends. You can win prizes. You win Psycoins, and you get stuff for your Psycoins. Go out there, think healthy. Doc Keith out.
Premier accommodations for our T-Ball contributors provided electronically by the luxurious Art Lab Studio, overlooking the steaming cesspool of pseudo-psychological social media psychomalarkey and located in cyberspace on your favorite podcast hosting platform, where we invite you to the most psychomalogically thrilling podcast in town, while you feast on our award-winning psychologically nutritious buffet of TherapyBites cuisine, conscientiously cooked up by your hard-working T-Ball team chefs.